All right, let's talk crypto. You've seen the headlines, you've heard all the hype, but what is cryptocurrency, really? Today, we're going to cut right through the noise and break it all down for you. Everything from Bitcoin to the blockchain. Let's get into it.
So to really wrap your head around crypto, you got to start with this one kind of huge question. What if money wasn't controlled by banks or governments? What if it was just, well, ours, managed by this massive global network of computers? That's the wild, revolutionary idea that kicked this whole thing off.
So what's the official definition? Basically, a cryptocurrency is digital money that runs on a computer network without any central authority. No government, no bank, nobody's in charge. You can think of it as true peer-to-peer money.
Okay, to really understand where we are today, we have to look at where this all started. So let's dive into our first section, a new kind of money, and the origins of this absolutely revolutionary idea.
And what's so fascinating is that this dream of digital cash, it's not new at all. It actually goes back for decades. I mean, you had concepts like eCash way back in 1983. But okay, the real Big Bang moment, that was 2009. That's when the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto drops Bitcoin on the world. And you know what? It didn't take long for others to jump in. By 2011, you already had the first altcoins like Litecoin popping up, trying to improve on that original recipe.
But how does any of this actually work? I mean, how is it possible? Well, that brings us to the engine that powers the whole thing, the blockchain. And don't worry, we're going to keep this super simple. Honestly, this is the best way to think about it. The blockchain is like a digital public receipt book, right? Everyone on the network gets a copy, everyone can see all the transactions, but here's the magic trick. Because of some very clever math, nobody can go back and change an entry. It's permanent and it's totally transparent. So what does a transaction look like in practice? Well, it's kind of like a four-step dance. Step 1, you request a transaction. Step 2, that request gets blasted out to the whole network of computers. We call these nodes. They're the ones keeping that receipt book. Step 3, all those nodes work together to make sure it's a legit transaction. And finally, once it's verified, it gets bundled into a new block and snapped onto the chain. And boom, you've got that permanent record we were just talking about.
So how does the network actually agree on what's real? Well, there are two main ways, and this is super important. First up, you've got proof of work. This is what Bitcoin uses. Think of it like a crazy hard race where miners fire up these super powerful computers to solve incredibly complex math puzzles. It's super secure, no doubt, but it uses an insane amount of energy. Then you have the alternative, proof of stake, which networks like Ethereum use now. Here, validators put their own crypto on the line. They stake it for a chance to be chosen to approve transactions. And the punchline? It uses over 99.9% less energy. That is a monumental shift, and it's a direct answer to one of the biggest knocks against crypto.
Okay, so we've got the basics down. But you have to understand, the crypto universe today is so much bigger than just Bitcoin. Let's explore just how big it's gotten. Just how much bigger are we talking? Well, as of mid-2023, there were over 25,000 different cryptocurrencies out there. Now look, the vast majority of these probably won't survive, but it just goes to show you the sheer scale of experimentation that's going on. It's wild. And they really do come in all shapes and sizes. You've got your altcoins, which are pretty much any alternative to Bitcoin. You have stablecoins, which are designed to stay pegged to something stable, like the US dollar. Then you have the wild ones, meme coins like Dogecoin, which literally started as a joke. And of course, you have NFTs, which are these unique tokens that represent ownership of something, like a piece of digital art. But the real game changer, the thing that blew the doors open, that was Ethereum. See, Ethereum wasn't just about creating a new kind of money. Its creators called it the world's programmable blockchain. What that means is you could actually build applications on top of the blockchain using something called smart contracts, which are basically just little programs that run automatically when certain conditions are met.
So what kind of applications are we talking about here? Well, imagine rebuilding the entire financial system, but without any banks in the middle. That's decentralized finance, or DeFi. Or think about creating video games and virtual worlds where you truly own your digital items. And then there are these new kinds of organizations called DAOs. They're run by code and community votes with no CEOs or managers in sight. Pretty futuristic stuff.
And all of that brings us to our final section, and it's a big one. Promise, peril, and debate. Let's get into why cryptocurrency is so unbelievably controversial. On the one hand, you have the big philosophical argument. Early supporters like Roger Ver, they saw this as a powerful idea, a way to separate money from the state. For them, it was a tool for individual freedom. But that idealistic vision, it hasn't exactly translated to mainstream trust, not by a long shot. Check out this recent survey from Pew Research. A whopping 63% of adults in the US have little to no confidence that crypto is reliable or safe. That tells you everything, right? There's this massive gap between the dream of crypto and how everyday people actually see it.
And a huge reason for that skepticism is the environmental cost. Bitcoin mining, with that proof-of-work system we talked about, is estimated to produce as much CO2 every year as the entire nation of Greece. That is just a staggering environmental footprint.
Then, of course, there's the stomach-churning volatility. Just look at this. In a single week back in May of 2022, major cryptocurrencies lost anywhere from a fifth to almost half of their value. For a lot of people, this doesn't feel like investing. It feels like pure, high-stakes gambling.
And with that kind of gambling comes immense risk. The history of crypto is just littered with stories of catastrophic losses, from the infamous Mt. Gox hack way back in 2014 to the absolutely shocking collapse at the exchange FTX in 2022, where billions of dollars in customer money just, poof, vanished.
But what about that old argument that crypto is only for criminals? Well, the data actually tells a more nuanced story. A big blockchain analysis firm called Chainalysis found that in 2021, just 0.15% of all crypto transactions were tied to illicit stuff. So while it does happen, it's a tiny, tiny fraction of the whole picture.
This whole complex, messy picture has left governments around the world completely divided on what to do. On one extreme, you have China, which has just outright banned all crypto transactions. And on the complete other end, you have El Salvador, which made Bitcoin an official legal currency. The global rulebook is still being written, and right now, nobody agrees on what the rules should be.
And so that leaves us with the one fundamental question that really defines this entire space. Is this the future of finance? A revolutionary technology that's going to redefine how we use money? Or is it a dangerous speculative bubble built on nothing but hype, just waiting to pop? The debate, as you can see, is far from over.